What's poppin', everybody on the live? What's going on? Waiting for Facebook to go ahead and cut on. There we go. What up, what up, what up, everybody? Dante here. Listen, can you do me a quick favor? If you're watching this live, can you comment live below? If you're watching this on the replay, can you comment replay? I'm super excited. What we're going to talk about today is advice to somebody who is financially broke right now. Advice to somebody who may be struggling in their finances in any kind of way. This isn't like to bash or to shame or to feel like I personally have it all figured out, because I damn sure don't. But I do believe this is an opportunity to really share some advice that is super practical, that can really help out somebody who may be going through a tough season right now. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people on the internet or on social media are not really giving the real behind some of the transformations that you see happening in people's lives. And I just wanted to come on here today and keep it all the way 100 with y'all. What up, Christy? What up? Hey, I know that's right. What up, sis? It's good to see you. It's been a while. We need to connect. I'm super excited, though, to have this conversation, because I feel like a lot of times, like when I see content, like even by like the Earn Your Leisures or by like different big media platforms that put out a lot of content for entrepreneurs, it kind of has an expectation that somebody is already mentally at the level to be able to take action in certain ways to really help them level up, like to jump into real estate investing or to jump into trucking or to jump into some kind of entrepreneurship venture, coming from a place of I don't have nothing and I'm really working a job right now, barely making ends meet, into launching some brand new idea that they don't have the ability, what up, Ty, to be able to go ahead. So I just want to give some advice to somebody right now who feels broke financially specifically. We're not talking about broke in any other way but in your finances. And I think that the first thing that you need to do, if you are in a massive financial deficit or situation right now, or you're just like, first off, most people in America are living check to check, regardless of income. So like there are people who are making $40,000 a year living check to check. There's people who are making $250,000 every year living a check to check. Over 50% of the population is living from a check to check basis. So a lot of times when people feel like, oh, if I had more money, it would be so much easier. Or if I had more money, I'll be able to do so much more. And in reality, a lot of people who have much more money than you are still living on a just getting by week by week, check by check basis, which is the same place that I've lived the majority of my life from, even though we've had some recent changes that I'm super excited about that have gone on in the last few years. But the first piece of advice I'd give to you, and again, if you're watching this live, comment live below. If you're watching this on the replay, comment replay. The first piece of advice I would give you that we're really just going to talk about this whole time is you need to go on a diet. You need to go on a diet. You're like, Dante, we're talking about me being broke and not having the amount of money as I want right now, and you're telling me to go on a diet. Absolutely yes. And I'm not talking about a fried food diet. I'm not talking about a diet when it comes to any kind of food. I'm really talking about you need to diet and pay attention to the kind of content and the things it is that you're listening and watching right now. I think that it is very easy for us to correct a mental diet. Christy said it perfectly. And you're dieting from, like one of my old mentors used to say, you need to go on a radio diet, because it used to be very popular. People listen to the radio, listen to music for a lot of their day. And for me, I feel the same way. I know for me, a big shift in my life back in 2016, 2017, like I used to be a heavy 2K Madden video game player all the time. And I had to look at myself in the mirror one day. I was talking to my mentor. I was just like, well, bro, what did you do? Like, we're like going through the hours of my day. And he's trying to help me realize where it is I have more volume, where it is I have more margin. And we're counting the hours of every activity it is that I did. And I was averaging like 3 hours a day playing 2K or Madden or some kind of video game. And he's like, bro, listen, like if you cut that time out completely, unedited, raw, don't dance around it, just cut that time out and then take those 3 hours right there and dive into making your mental better. And I'm like, my mental? I'm like, bro, I'm trying to make money. What are you talking about, my mental? And he's like, listen, like you need to develop your mindset first, then develop your skill set, and that will give you access to the tool set to take you where it is that you want to go. And I'm like, develop my mindset. Like, what are you saying? And at that point, 2016, 2017, for me, I had been in some other entrepreneurship opportunities before, and I never made any money with any of them. And I had witnessed and watched other people take the same opportunity it is that I had and do way more than it is than I did. And that's why there's some people who are great in real estate and make a lot of money, and there's some people who are real estate agents that never sell a house. There are some people who own trucking companies that do really, really well. There's some people who own trucking companies that can't even get a freight sold. So it's like the opportunity is the same across the board for in most situations. The difference is that person's mindset and that person's skill set. So if I were in that position again, like right now, like I was in 2016, 2017, what I would do is I would go on a diet of the content it is that I'm taking, and I would intentionally, and this is my advice to you, I would intentionally cut ties with anything it is that's clearly a distraction in my life. And the easiest things that come to mind first are like watching too much Netflix, watching too much TV, too much football on Sundays, or basketball season about to start here shortly, too much sports in general. I feel like the sports world, again, you're talking to somebody who's a former athlete. Like I love basketball, I love football. I know a lot of people love soccer, all types of stuff. But if it's not helping me, social media, exactly, like if it's not feeding me directly into becoming who it is that God has called me to be, it can absolutely go with a season of separation. It can absolutely go for a season of separation. And that includes friends too. Like there was a point in time in my life to where like I used to hang around a certain group of people, and we used to hang out, we used to party, we used to smoke a ton of weed, and we would be at a point to where I had to mentally recognize that if I'm around these people, these are the activities that are going to happen no matter what. So what I need to do is have a season of separation from those people and spend more time with my business mentors, spend more time with the people that are helping me grow and level up, that are having a higher level conversation. Everybody knows the saying, hey, listen, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you look at the people right now, don't overthink it. Look right now at the people you spent the most time with over the last 90 days. Think about those people in your brain. Don't try to make excuses. Just unapologetically call it what it is. Who have I spent the most time with in the last 90 days? And you are the sum of those 5 people. And when I started to internalize that, I recognized that I needed to spend some more time with some higher level people. And as I started to do that, I was dieting from my certain friend group. And that doesn't mean I don't got love for them. That doesn't mean that the relationship's over. No, it just means that right now I'm in a season to where I don't want to do those activities, and I don't want, like, if you can't change the people around you, then you need to change the people around you. So I'm not even trying to change it all. All I'm going to do is change myself and be intentional about that and not allow it to be accidental. Intentionality is really like a cuss word, because so many times people are like, well, I couldn't do it because this happened, or I didn't want to hurt this person's feelings, or it's very easy to make an excuse about something as opposed to taking full accountability and saying, you know what, I spent way too much time over my homeboy's house where we weren't doing nothing over there but watching a game and playing the game and talking about music or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with music either. But I will say that, one, if your music isn't feeding into you and you decided to cut music out, like you can go on a music diet completely. Hey, you know what? I don't need to listen to any music right now. And in the times where I want to go listen to music, I can listen to a podcast that can help build me up. I know a lot of people, some people, listen, comment below. Do you prefer reading a book physically, or do you prefer listening to it via audiobook? I'm just curious, because there was a season in my life, somebody's like, Dante, audiobooks don't bring you any value. You're going to forget the information. Like, you got to read it paper and paper. And I have read books paper and paper, and I do audiobooks as well. But I personally prefer audio, just because I'm driving in a car, I'm in the gym, or it creates more opportunities where I feel like I can actually focus and listen to the content. And if I need to read the book twice, I will. So comment below if you prefer audio or actual real book. I'm curious. But I'm definitely an audiobook guy now. I do have like some physical books I read as well. Some of my favorites here: Spirit of Leadership by Miles Monroe, Legend of the Monk and the Merchant right here. Fire books that I've actually read, and I'm not downing it. I'm just curious as far as what do people feel. And I feel like everybody's different, so that's totally okay. But what I will say is, you see how many people have done 75 hard in the last year, 2 years, 3 years, or how many people have done certain or even like a spiritual fast. I think that's wise. I think that there's like the Bible speaks on us fasting. That is something you should absolutely do in your life. And I don't feel like it just stops with, I'm going to watch what I put into my body to get closer to God. I feel like you could watch what you're putting into your soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotions, and get closer to your goals, get closer to who it is that he really has you to be, especially if you already know what skill set you have. Like, if you know, hey, I'm going to be in the music industry, or I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be, or like, if you're clear already on what space you want to get involved in, then you can definitely be intentional and starve your distractions and feed your focus. But you have to go and say, you know what? What's distracting me right now? I had an old mentor who said all the time, he said, what entertains you trains you. So if I'm only watching sport, I remember I used to watch so much Stephen A. Smith and ESPN and so much content from people commenting on sports. And I recognized one day, I'm like, bro, I'm watching the same game that they watch. I don't give a damn what Stephen A. Smith got to say about the game that I also watch and I have my own opinion on. So cutting out that time from what it is I'm watching from them, and now I'm kidding you, as opposed to, I'm talking about faithfully. I will, at 8 a.m. or I think it was 9 a.m., I will watch the first hour of First Take, and I like just to hear what they said about the game that happened last night that I have the ability to watch myself. And I had to catch myself and say, you know what, Don, like that's time right there. I could be in the gym. That's time right now I could be reading this book. That's time right now I could be one of my mentors. That's time right now I could be listening to a podcast that's helping build me up. Podcasts have really changed my life too, because podcast wasn't like as big like 10 years ago. But I remember like 2017, 2018, really digging in a podcast for the first time of people that I actually liked, talking about different business ideas, talking about inspirational content. And that stuff started to train me. The word says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he shall be. And oftentimes we hear that and we think that, okay, well, I don't have the ability to control my thoughts. And I don't think that that's true. I feel like we do have much more ability to control our thoughts. And what's up, Caleb? The best way to do so is to, one, recognize, where do my thoughts come from? Your thoughts come from, oftentimes, a piece of your thoughts come from your five senses. And your five senses being taste, smell, hearing. Your five senses, we obviously know your five senses. So I think that like when you touch something, you have a thought about it. When you hear something, you have a thought about it. When you see something, you have a thought about it. So I can control the things that I'm thinking about by listening to content that are about topics that I actually want to learn more about, or an area in my life where I actually want to grow or participate at a higher level. So if you recognize that and say, you know what, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he shall be. So if I immerse myself inside of content that I know that I want to get better in, or I know I need to be greater in, and it's not something that happens overnight. It takes time. But on top of that, doing so over time, you are going to see tangible changes in your life. It's like, if you know the math equation, like whatever you input affects the output. So a lot of times we're not taking captive or being aware of what we're putting inside of our mind. You can't be scrolling on the shade room all day thinking that you're going to be that you're going to change your financial situation because of that. You're not. It's not going to happen. That's not how it works. And I would say you have to remove the expectation that these things are going to happen in 2 weeks. No, I'm saying I challenge you, the person who is not financially worried as that you want to be, for the next 90 days, find some distraction in your life and hardcore diet from it. I'm not going to play any video games for 90 days. I'm not going to hang out with that person who I know all we do is talk about what's going on with guys or girls or anything that's completely irrelevant. I'm not going to go and participate in that activity that brings me no value, that doesn't help me in any single way, shape, or form. And I know that before I even go do the activity, but I do it anyway because I'm comfortable there and I'm very familiar with the people who are around. Absolutely. No. Do that and then fill that time in, not any other time that's going on in your day. Pick one activity. If you're a gamer, if you're a heavy, listen, if on the way to work, you banging Future and what's the girl name who do the Ski song? I can't even remember her name, but her, City Girls, any of them. If you're going to work or going to your places of occupation or whatever it is that you do, listening to that kind of content, you could say, you know what, for the next 90 days, I'm not going to listen to none of that. And as opposed to listening to that, I will pick an audiobook that during this time every day, when I'm on my way to work or when I'm on my way from wherever it is I go, I'm going to listen to this as opposed to that. One of the good things for me that worked and I didn't think this was going to work, because I used to feel like, hey, when I'm in the gym, I need to be listening to that upbeat, hardcore, rap or whatever to get me in my bag. And I recognized that wasn't true. I actually have great workouts all the time, listening to a podcast, listening to a sermon, listening to a book. Sometimes when I do my cardio and I'm actually running and I'm running to a pace, I like to listen to actual music just so that way I'm kind of matching my feet with how the music is going. But when I'm just lifting weights and I'm going through a workout regimen, I could definitely listen to a podcast or a sermon or something of that matter and really get a ton of value out of it. Especially me, I got my beats in. I don't even know what's going on outside of my own world when I'm in the gym. I'm in there with me. And I think that would be my advice, because I get DMs all the time. Dante, hey, listen, I would love to partner with you on this opportunity, but I just don't have the money for it. And it's okay, that's fine with me. If you're okay not having the money for it and that being your excuse why you don't want to take advantage of a life-changing opportunity, that's totally fine. And if you want to actually get better, if you want to actually not be in this position in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, this is what I would advise you to do, is to cut off any distractions that's going on in your life and input some intentional personal development in those spaces where it is that you now have margin because you're cutting off distractions. I wouldn't just say add this into your life unless you were to intentionally take something away from your life. You need to create, you need to let go in order for you to be able to go up. So it's like, I think that is just super important. And if you recognize, and for me, it's so funny because I made that decision about playing 2K and Madden back in like 2017, 2018-ish, around that time. And I really have never picked it back up. And I'm talking about, I used to be an online player every day. Like, I'm playing all the time. Like, as soon as I get a moment of free time, that's what I'm doing. And I never really, that doesn't mean that like a lot of my friends still play video games all the time. And this is no shade on video games. This is just something for me that helped me get to a better position in my life. But now, yeah, I go to somebody's house and they got a game, or they got an Xbox or whatever. We can play a game or two of 2K. But that is like more rare than it is something that used to be like an everyday aspect of my life. And that was tough for me, and cutting off certain people that were in my life or creating intentional distance between me and certain people in my life helped me out a lot. So if this is resonating with you, if you've ever had anybody, or can you identify something right now, anybody who's listening to this still, can you think right now in the last week of your life, is there an activity that you've done more than one time that you feel like is a distraction to you getting to your goals? If you can identify that, comment a 1 below. If you can think right now and say, you know what? If I really think about the last week of my life, I can identify a couple things that I know are not serving me. I know that are not serving my goals. I know that are not getting me closer to where it is I want to be in my life years from now. Then I feel like that activity is what it is that you cut off, and you insert what is it that you actually want. But you'd be shocked how many people DM me like, bro, like, I would love to, or hey, you got this going on, like, I want to be a part of it. And I'm like, yeah, it costs X. And they're like, well, I don't have that right now. I don't have anything. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean that the bar gets lowered of entry of what it takes for you to be able to participate in this kind of a platform. And my advice to you would be that you don't ever want to be in a point to where there's something it is that you want to do, or something it is that you want, something that you think can help you level up, and you can't do it because you don't have what it takes to actually start. I feel like there's where you need to sacrifice something that's going on, something that you're giving your time to, and continuously grow more. And I believe that it goes mindset, skill set, tool set. You would change your mindset on it and how you view the situation first. Then through that process, you are going to begin to get and develop skills. And from that, you will have the tools, or the tools will show to you as far as, okay, well, what do I use tangibly now to go and make more money? After you change your mindset, after you raise your skill set, the tools will come to you to be able to go ahead and level up. But doing the same thing over and over and over again ain't gonna just change. Nobody's about to walk out the house and give you $1 million to go and fix up your life. And even if they did, you don't have the right mindset, I don't even believe it's going to change anything for you. You'll probably be in a worse situation after you get the $1 million than it is before you had it. Your mindset shift comes first. How you view a thing is how you're going to do a thing. What up, Doc? How you doing? Good to see you. Again, if you're watching this live, comment live. If you're watching this on the replay, comment replay. But what I'm telling you is that you're going to see much more success in your life by intentionally starving the things it is that are distracting you and feeding it into your focus. The things that entertain you are also the things that train you. So recognize that as soon as possible and be trained by things it is that you know you want to be better at. Be intentional about it. And much love. Peace out. Catch y'all on the next live.